Hi. So I want to quickly also give out my buying experience with the Royal Enfield Himalayan 450. So I have already been using a Royal Enfield motorcycle Scrambler 411 before I bought this, and I was quite aware as to how the dealerships are, and suffice to say that I'm not a fan at all. I bought this in spite of it being from Royal Enfield, not because it is from Royal Enfield. Why did I want to buy it? I wanted to buy it because this was only the first probably ADV which was available in the market and which I was able to afford. So I knew that I could save up some money and afford this. And so that is the only reason I made the booking for Royal Enfield Himalayan 450. Within the first 15 days of launching, I made the booking online. And after I made the booking online, my money was shifted to the nearest dealer, and then I was supposed to receive delivery from the nearest dealer in about 3 months' time or maybe lesser. I think the bracket period was 3 months. And so on the application, whenever I used to find time, I used to check, and so it would show me that my bike has been dispatched and that it's available with the dealer. And then I'd go and contact the dealer, and he would say that he has no intimation or he doesn't know, and basically my bike wasn't there. And so this happened a couple of times. The application would show that my bike would has the application would show that my bike has been dispatched, but the dealer would say that the bike hasn't arrived or he is not aware of my motorcycle at all. And so slowly I understood that he basically wanted me to pay up extra, which had happened previously also, and which happens all the time. Whenever they have a product which they feel does well in the market, so they want customers to pay up extra over the ex-showroom price, so that the showrooms can make some pure profit on that. So I understood that ploy and I refused to pay, and I said I'll still wait. And so I waited and waited, and maybe 6 months passed, and so then I started trying to get in touch with the hierarchy of Royal Enfield, and wrote emails and multiple emails and multiple reminders, and got very vague replies, standard that they're looking into it and that kind of thing, and nothing really happened. And so I think I would have waited about 9 months, getting in touch with Royal Enfield and them doing nothing. And in the meantime, I was really hoping that KTM 390 would launch and that I would shift my money there and straight away go and buy that bike. But the KTM 390, for whatever reason, did not launch in that duration. So after about 9 months, I got shifted or got posted out from my previous place of residence. And so then I demanded my money back, and again got in touch with the entire hierarchy of Royal Enfield and then made them give a call. And finally, it turned out that the dealer did have my deposit and was able to retrieve my 10,000 from that dealer after about 9 months of waiting and Royal Enfield doing nothing to help me. So then I went to this new place of work, and in this new place of work, mind you, and from this previous dealership, many motorcycles came and they were sold also, and I'm very sure for hefty profits over and above the ex showroom price. But I did not get mine because I refused to pay. And so subsequently, when I moved out from that place of service and came to a next posting, so here there was another Royal Enfield showroom, and I went to that showroom, and they had this bike uh, standing there, and I told them that the only way that they can sell this bike to me is if they allow me a test ride, which they willingly agreed. So in the previous showroom, they never ever gave any bikes for test rides, and were still able to sell the bikes for hefty profits over and above the showroom price. Why? Because uh, the name sells, and there is a mass hysteria, and so people are willing to pay without test rides. So in the second place, I was able to get a test ride within the first day itself, and so there was an issue with that motorcycle. I tested one in, I think, the brownish color, and one in the whitish color, and so I don't remember the name of those colors. And so both the bikes had this right pulling issue, and I told them I want a bike which doesn't have a pulling issue. Once I ride that bike and I'm convinced, I'll immediately pay out the money. And so the next couple of days they got me this bike, which this present bike which I hold with me right now, and gave me a test ride of this, and I rode the bike and there was no pulling issue, and I immediately paid money for this bike, and the registration process took whatever time, and the bike was handed over to me in about a week plus time. So my entire process of buying this Royal Enfield Himalayan 450 has been painful, and I had to unnecessarily wait, and secretly I was very strongly wishing for the KTM 390 to launch so that I can just shift my money and not look back and straight away buy the KTM 390. But that didn't happen because that bike did not launch in time. So yes, I would have waited almost a year to buy this bike, and hence again I say that I am not a fan of Royal Enfield and their practices. Also, when I bought the bike, I immediately made a deposit of 5,000 rupees for the tubeless tires. This bike did not come with the tubeless tires, so I immediately made a deposit for tubeless tires with the distributor that I bought the bike from, and I was assured that I will be given or upgraded with tubeless tires within a short span of a few months, maybe 1 or 2. And that time the tubeless tires were costing about, I think, 10 to 12,000, and so I waited for about 3 months, and then the cost got bumped up to 17,000, and I still waited, and I think I would have waited another maybe 6 months before I finally realized that the tubeless tires were not coming. So, and also painfully so, because then the price got bumped up to about 40,000. So, which is again strange. You buy a new bike with tubeless tires, you end up paying 17,000. You buy it subsequently later on, because your bike didn't have tubeless tires that time, you end up paying 40,000. Strange. Again, sounds like a very strange practice. But then what do? There were no other options in the market. So I then went hunting myself to other dealers, and then found one dealer which had one set in stock, and that is how I got my tubeless wheel setup. And also in the process, I ended up paying 40,000 for something which would have costed me between 12 to 17,000 had the dealer done his end of the bargain for what I had paid him 5,000 rupees as advance. So again, not too happy there, but then that is what I've come to expect from the dealerships that sell these bikes. Thank you.